Hello and welcome back to The Farmer Was Replaced. We're going to attempt cactuses today. Cactuses can be obtained by trading gold, 10 gold for 1 cactus seed. Now when you plant cactuses, they grow from a height from 0 to 9 and they need sorted according to height. So the smallest has to be in the bottom left, the largest has to be in the top right. So that its neighbors have to be smaller to the left and to the bottom and larger to the right and to the top. So then when you harvest the cactuses, the whole field is harvested at once, and you only get credit for the ones that are correctly sorted according to their neighbors. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if it's going to be super efficient, but we will sort all the horizontal rows first, then I will switch back and do the vertical rows, and I believe that should sort the whole field. It might not, but we will be a good place to start. So the first thing we're going to do is write a function to just check we can measure the neighbors, so we can be here and we can measure neighbor to the west or to the north. So let's create a function just to measure one tile right now. So we've planted the carrots just like we do everything else, or the cactuses. Just like everything else, we cycle through X and Y and plant a cactus on every spot, water it, and then we go to 0, 0 so that we can start the measuring process. Right now this just measures the current tile and measures the one to the west. If the current tile is greater than the one to the west, we're going to swap it with the west. So next thing we're going to have to do is figure out how to check. So if we get over to say this one and we swap it to this one, we have to go back and check all these and make sure that this is not smaller than any of these. So we'll have to go back and through and check everything we've done so far. So as we go through, we'll have to check the whole row. Alright, so this next statement basically will compare the current position to the world size, and if it's less than world size, it'll add +1 and move west. So basically this is position 6 here. This is get world size of 7. So if our current position is 6, is less than world size -1, so 7 minus 1 would be 6. So if 6 is less than 6, that won't be true. It will not move west because there's nothing to compare to over here. And these two have already been compared in this statement here. So next we got to come up with something to track all the ones we've done before so that we know once we swap these two, we got to compare this one with the rest of them to make sure it's not smaller than the ones that are on the left of it. Okay, I'm not sure this makes sense, but we're going to try it. So this is, while current position is less than world size -1, so that just means make sure we're not at the end here. If they need swapped, go ahead and swap them, measure this one and swap them if necessary. And then I have a past moves category. I started at 0. So if we're at position here, say this is position 4, we've had 4 past moves to get to this point. So we're going to increment through those 4 past moves and check each one to make sure they don't need swapped. So while past moves is less than current X position, move east. So we're moving this way in one direction, checking to see if they need swapped. If they need swapped, go ahead and swap them and increment your moves +1. So that'll increment this. If at any point it goes down, it's going back this way, and it sees that they don't need swapped, that means the rest of them are in order. Set your past moves to 0 and break out of the loop. So this should move east in increments of 1 until our past moves, say if we're here, our past moves will be 4. Once we get past moves less than 4, it's less than current X position, which is 4, we'll know we've checked all the positions. So let's go ahead and try it and see. I don't think it's going to work, but we got to set some parameters so that it actually tries to plant cactuses. So if we have less than 500 cactuses, grow cactus. So that should set it off. Planting the whole field in cactuses. It went way too fast for me to see, so it's going to grow some gold again. I'm going to set a break at this point here, I guess, and see if it stops at the end. It's got to get back up to 5,000 gold because we spent all our gold on buying cactus seeds. Here's the new code, this section right here. I've been working on it for the past couple hours trying to figure out why it's not working, and I think I just made a really silly mistake. Let's take a look at it. But this basically, we've talked about this statement already, so this one says if measure is greater than measure west, so it's basically measuring this one and this one, and if this one is greater than this one, it's going to swap them. So it's going to move the bigger one over to this side and come back here. That's where I made my mistake. For some reason, I was treating this as west and this as east, where it's totally the other way around. This is east, that's west. So this needs changed to east, as well as this. So I'll basically compare these two and swap them if they're not right. Now this one says y past moves is greater than, or is less than your current x position. So I set all these up here, right here. These are all 0 to start with. We're at 0, 0. It's just tracking our current x and y position and our past moves. We'll go over that one in a second. Right now it's 0. So it's going to say y0 is less than 0. It's going to skip this whole while loop, the first go around. It's going to come down to here and it's going to add current x position plus 1. So it's, our current x position is 0. It's going to change it to 1. So it's going to, and then we're going to go to that position. So it's going to just move us over to this position. Then we'll go back to this while loop and it'll say y current x position, which is now 1, is less than world size, which it will be. We're going to do the measure thing again. So we're going to be right here and it'll measure these two. It'll swap them if necessary. Now y past moves will still be 0 because we have not changed it yet, is less than current x position, which will be 1. So this will be y0 is less than 1. So this will be true now. It'll move east, which we want it to move west, because I mixed up my directions. So it's basically coming down here. It's comparing these two first. It's saying if this one needs swap, go ahead and swap it. And then while my past moves are less than my current position, move west. So it's going to come back this direction and it's going to measure these again. Because now that we move these two, it's possible these two are not sorted anymore. So it's going to measure these two and swap them if necessary. If it does swap them, it's going to add plus 1 to my past moves. Let's skip forward a couple of tiles here. So let's say we're at this tile here. It's going to measure these two and swap them if necessary. Then it's going to move back 1 here, add 1 to my past moves, and it's going to compare these two. Let's say they get swapped. It'll add 1 to my past moves. So now my past moves will be 2, but my current x position will still be 4 because this is where we started. So it'll swap these two if necessary, move back to here, and my past moves will be 3. My current x position will be 4. So y3 is less than 4. We're still moving backwards. It'll swap them if necessary. Now, if for some reason it measures these and it realizes, okay, so I measured these two, and this statement was false. These two did not need swapped. We have to assume the rest of them are already sorted because we've already went through this line. So it's going to come down to this else statement and say past moves equals 0, which is basically a reset, and it'll break out of this while loop. So it'll realize, okay, I didn't need to swap these two. I am done sorting this up to 4. Let's add 1 more to my x position, go back to this one, and start the whole process over again. So this basically will work through this bottom row, I think. And we have to do this. This has to be east as well. And this has to be east. So that should fix my movement errors. And so this should just sort the bottom row right now. If this works, I'll move to making it sort each row. And we'll come back and make it sort the rows vertically. And I think that'll do it. I'm not quite sure. It might mess it up when I sort them this way and then this way. But I don't know. We'll make some progress and see. Oh, we gotta hit the main button here. So it's gonna assume the cactuses now. So I don't know why I did that. Why did we not go to 0, 0? The reason this isn't working is because we're tilling it no matter what. Whereas really we have to check if it's already tilled. We shouldn't be tilling it. Grounds dot, let's see, soil. Go ahead and till it. So if the ground type is not soil, till it. Otherwise just plant the cactus seed. Let's try that. I'm missing something here. This doesn't go there. That goes as this instead. There we go. That should get rid of my error type. That one's not. Still messing it up. Why are we? Alright, I've added this clear up top at the cactus just to get it going. Just to make sure it's all clear at the beginning. And let's actually make sure we're at 1 or 0, 0 as well. Let's play this, see if this works. It is planting all the cactuses, which is good. Okay, I put a breakpoint in here to see. So it's moving west. Let's just walk through it here. Let's let it go to the next one. So here we've come back to the code here now. It's right here, so it's comparing the current X position. So it's evaluating it right now. It is true, so it's going to go down to this one. It's going to measure these two and swap them, hopefully, because this one looks taller. Okay, so it's comparing them right now. Swapped them, so that's good. So now it should see that our path moves is back to 0, so it should move back 1 to the west. So here it's going to move west. It's going to measure the two again. And these two look similar, so it probably might break out of this. Let's see, I can't really tell. Yeah, so it broke out of it. It saw that these two were the same, which means everything else is in order. So it's resetting my path moves to 0 right now. It's going to break out of this while loop. It's going to change my current position to 1, which means it's going to come down to this one next. It's going to go through the go-to command, which is like, I have to click this 20 times. So I'm just going to hit play. It'll break when it gets back to this. So there you go. It moved down to here. It swapped these two. Now it's going to move down to here and check these two. I didn't need swaps, so it's going to move to that one. It swapped these two, so this one looks like it's actually good as well. So there's a perfect example. This one has to be moved all the way back here, so it's going to have to work through. Swapped them. It's going back. It's going to move west 1. It's going to check these two. Swap them. It's adding 1 to my pass moves right now. So like right now, I kind of hover over this. It doesn't really tell me what it is. So right now my pass moves is 2. It's moved twice. My current position is 6. So that's evaluating true. It's going to look at these. It's going to measure them both sides. Swap them. Move over 1 to the left. So that appears to be working. So now we have to figure out how to make it go. We'll have to add another while loop to this to make it move up the x-axis or up the y-axis and sort each row. And then I'll have to figure out how to sort the rows vertically. I'm not sure my logic is correct here if I sort all these rows horizontally and then I sort them vertically, if it's going to give me the desired result. But I guess this will be good practice for me to go through and figure out how to do it anyway. And we'll just see what the outcome is and make adjustments from there. Okay, so I've just added another while loop inside of this. This is our current code that we were just working on. So I just added this one that is outside of this while loop. So once it completes this, it'll go to this one, which just basically adds 1 to the y coordinate, resets your x to 0. So it'll basically move up this row here and sort this row, and then it'll move up and sort this row. So that should move up the whole field and sort the rows horizontally. I think to sort them vertically, we can just copy this code down here, and we'll have to go through and change all the, so now this will be X position, this will be Y position, this will be north, this will be south, or no, north as well, and this should be move south. And this is back to north. It's basically going to do the same thing we just did, only it'll be vertically instead of horizontally. And then this needs reversed. This should be current X position plus 1, and this should be current Y position is 0. So I think that'll work. We'll run it and see. Alright, let's give it a go. Is sorting them, moving up the aisles. Somehow we messed up though. Like this aisle did not get sorted correctly. Neither did this one for that matter. So I think it's possible the pass move needs reset too, because if it goes through the whole thing and exits out without hitting this else command, pass moves would be messed up. So let's go ahead and put it in back down here. That should work there. Thinking about this some more, it looks like if for some reason it exits this loop before this else statement gets executed, which is possible because this pass moves plus 1 could end this while loop without ever hitting the else statement, my pass moves would be set wrong. So I'm thinking every time I complete this while loop, we need to reset the past moves before we go measuring again. So let's go ahead and do that. See if that makes a difference. I'll leave it down here too. This shouldn't be needed if we're resetting it here, but I'm going to leave it both spots for now. Add the cactuses. That seemed to be it. Just sorting each row. I missed this last row. So miss this last row, and the Y sort is not working. Like this one should be up top here. This one shouldn't be here. So let's investigate that. So a couple things. One, the first thing we got to do is figure out why this last row didn't get sorted. And I think that's because this statement here was designed to stop here because it's swapping these two, so it's comparing these two. So this statement actually needs to do the whole world size, not world size minus 1. So we can delete that here, which means we also need to delete it down here. Okay, so the other thing we want to address is why the vertical rows didn't sort, and I'm thinking that might be because we need to reset our current X and Y position to 0 when we start measuring the vertical rows, which are down here. Let's see if we can just go ahead and put this in down here. Should be right there. And then we'll go to 0, 0. So that should reset our X and Y to 0. Basically reset everything to 0. I have these pass moves equal 0. Quite a bit of spots on here. I'll have to go back through and actually figure out which one of those are necessary. Like up here, I think I could get rid of this one. Possibly just leave it here and get rid of this one, but I don't know. We'll look at that later. Let's just get this working. Let's give it another go, see what happens. It had to buy cactus seeds, so we'll come back when it gets the 5,000 gold because it takes a couple minutes to go through this gold. I'll have to figure out a way to speed up the gold collecting process. Alright, let's give this a whirl, see if it works. Planting the cactuses now. Sorting that row, sorting the next row. Appears to be sorting them correctly. Move down, it's sorting them vertically now, so that actually appears to be working. This row did not quite work. Same with this row. Okay, real quick, the reason the vertical rows didn't swap correctly was because we didn't add the pass moves in like we did up here. So this should actually be pass moves equals 0 again. Again, I have to go through and clean these up so that it sets the past moves in the correct spot instead of setting them everywhere. But that should at least correct the situation. If we change this to 1500, I believe that'll work. Probably reset it here as well too, just in case. Let's go ahead and run it and see real quick. Sorting the X's or the horizontals. They all look correct. And now it is sorting this correctly as well too. Okay, so that's it. We'll see you next episode. Thanks again.